Okay, grade 12s, let's look at a further example. In how many ways can 4 Afrikaans books, 3 English books, 3 science books, and 2 biology books be arranged on a shelf in any order we like? Okay, now have a look at this. So in number A, basically what we've got is we've got 4 Afrikaans books. Have a look at this. 4 Afrikaans. We've got 3 English books. Okay, we've got 3 science and 2 biology books, and they must be arranged on a shelf in any order that you like. So let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we've got 12 positions on the shelf, and if we look from left to right, we can put a book in that first position, a book in the second, third, fourth, all the way down. Okay, now in how many ways can we do that? Well, look, you've got basically, if you think about it, you've got 12 books at the moment to choose from. So we can pick any of those 12 books. We can choose one. So in the first position, we have 12 choices of books, and we might decide to take an Afrikaans book, and we pick at random any of those books, and we happen to choose an Afrikaans book. So let's put it into position. Now if you think about it carefully, we're down to 11 books. So here we've got, if you think one has gone into the first position on the shelf, the first place on the shelf, we're down to 11 books. Now if you count those up, you get 11. Okay, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, which means that now we've got 11 possible choices. So if you look at this in the second position, we can now choose out of 11 books. So let's say we decide to pick an English book. Okay, and we take the English book and put it into the second position, which now leaves us with 10 options or 10 choices of books. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 choices there. Okay, so let's pick a book. Let's take a science book and put it in. And so we put it into the third position, and it leaves us down to 9 books there. Okay, so we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 possible choices for the fourth position. So let's pick one. Let's take another Afrikaans book and bring the Afrikaans book into there, giving us now 8 books left. Okay, so there's 8 choices, 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 choices for the fifth position. So let's choose a biology book. Okay, let's have a look at that. We've got a biology book that we can choose. Let's take that one there. And there we go. So if we take that biology book, let's bring it into position in the fifth place there. Okay, now we're down to 7 books. Look at that, 7 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 possible choices for the sixth position. So maybe let's take another English book and bring it in. So we bring the English book and put it in there, which means we're now down to 6 books, to 6 possible choices for this 3, 6 for the 7th position here, and we have 6 choices. Okay, so let's pick a science book and bring the science book in, and there we go. Okay, now we're left with 5 choices. Look at that. Can you see that there are 5 possible books? So there's 5 choices for this position, and we might decide to take another Afrikaans book. Okay, great. So we bring the Afrikaans book and put it into that position there. Okay, which leaves us now with 4 possible book choices for this position here. So let's maybe take a science book and bring it in. There we go. So bring the science book in, and we're now down to 4 choices. 4 choices there. Well, we have 4 books there, but here we've got 3 now. So we're actually down to 3 books left in that position there. So we've got 3 books there left. Okay, now let's pick another one. So let's go for, say, the English book. Can go into that position there, which means for this position here we've got 2 choices. There we go. 2 choices, 2 books available, and we might decide we're going to pick the Afrikaans here. So let's pick the Afrikaans, bring it into there, and we're now down to a choice of only 1 book in the final position, which happens to be biology. So there's 1 choice there, and the only choice that we have is biology. So let's bring that down to there. Okay, cool. So that's one possible arrangement. You could have started with English and then biology, science going down there. Alright, so of the 12 books, we arrange them in any order on the shelf, which means now that if you think of in how many ways could this be done, this is one possible arrangement. There could be a whole lot other and many other ways of doing this. So if we multiply all these, we get 12 times 11 times 10. This is the counting principle that's going to tell us the total number of ways possible. So we do this, and if you remember from the previous lesson, this would be 12 factorial ways of being able to arrange those different books in different ways on the shelf. Okay, cool. Now what does number B say? B says, how must we arrange these books so that all books of the same subject are together, the same subject? So what we're doing here in B is we're arranging the books together. So we've got all the Afrikaans books that will be together. So we've got 4 Afrikaans books, and there's 4 different Afrikaans books, but they must stay together. The English books must stay together. The science books must stay together, and the biology books must stay. So we're going to group them in what I call objects or entities. So there's one object, there's a second object, a third object, and a fourth object. So I've got 4 objects that are going, and these 4 objects, treat them as separate entities. 4 of them must be arranged together on the shelf, so that in how many ways? 4 factorial different ways. So that the subject matter stays together. So in other words, remember, in one object, if you take what I would call the Afrikaans object, there's 4 possible Afrikaans books in that object, but they've got to stay together. So on the shelf, let's have 4 spaces for 4 different objects. Okay, now, of those 4 objects, which of those 4 objects could we choose for the first space on the shelf? There's 4 possibilities. So let's suppose we take the English first. Okay, so we take the English over here, and we're gonna tick the English, that those English must be arranged over there. Okay, so they occupy the first position on the shelf, or the first space. And remember, those 3 English books will occupy position 1, 2, 3 on the shelf, but they must be together as an object. Okay, so then we're down to 3 possible choices, okay, between the Afrikaans, science, and biology. Let's take the biology, put them into place there. So the biology books will occupy the 4th and the 5th position on the shelf, but as an object they stay together. So now we're down to 2 possible choices of objects. Let's put the science there. The sciences can go there, the science books, and then we're down to 1 possible choice with the 4 Afrikaans there. Okay, now in how many ways can those objects be arranged relative to each other? 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is 4 factorial ways for the arrangement of those 4 objects. Each object contains Afrikaans books or English books, science books, or biology. But now hang on, if you take the Afrikaans books, let's just have a look at the Afrikaans books. If you look at them here, they can be arranged in certain ways as well. You've got 4 different Afrikaans books. So in that position on the shelf, the 4 Afrikaans books can be arranged in how many ways? Well, look at that. In the first position, there are 4 possible books that could be here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say we decide to put the 3rd Afrikaans book there. Tick it. Now we've got 3 choices. Let's put A1 in there. Now we've got 2 choices. A2 or A4. Let's put A2. And then we're left with A4 that occupies the final position. But remember, this object is in that last space on the shelf, which occupies the last 4 positions where the books can go. So this is 4 factorial ways. So the Afrikaans books can be arranged relative to each other in 4 factorial ways. What about the English? Well, there's 3 English books. They can be arranged in 3 factorial. What about the science? Well, there's 3 science books, 3 factorial ways, like the Afrikaans. And the biology can be arranged in 2. There's 2 biology books, and they can occupy in that object, there's 2 possible ways we can arrange them. In the first space, one of those biology books can go there, and then the other one can go there. So there's 2 and 1. Okay, so according to the counting principle, the way that the objects can be arranged together is 4 factorial. The Afrikaans, they can be arranged relative to each other, 4 factorial. The English is going to be 3 factorial, the science 3 factorial, and the biology 2 factorial. So let's just check that again. So the objects can be arranged in 4 factorial, an object being like 3 English books together, that's one object, and there are 4 objects, so we can arrange them in 4 factorial. The Afrikaans can be arranged, if you take them relative, the way that they can be arranged relative to each other would be 4 factorial, English 3 factorial, science 3 factorial, and biology 2 factorial, and you multiply them together, and you have your possible arrangements. And if you work that out in the calculator, it's 41,472 possible arrangements of the books where the English, the Afrikaans, the science, the biology stay together. Okay, we treat them as 4 objects, 4 factorial ways of arranging the objects, and then you go into each object and see in how many ways can we arrange each of the books inside the objects. Like the Afrikaans would be 4 ways, which is 4 factorial.